All right, so we're in the final week of this Gospel Basics Bible study, and we're looking at the necessity of lordship. The necessity of lordship. This is seeing Jesus as Lord of our lives and how necessary that is in order for us to follow him. So, as opposed to looking at one passage and sitting it, we're going to look at a few. These are from the Bible study. We're going to hit them quickly, and the hope is you're going to go back to them and you're going to actually spend the time really sitting in these for longer periods of time. So, we're going to start out in Luke chapter 9, verse 23 through 24. This is Jesus teaching his disciples, and it says, He said to all, If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. Okay. Jesus looks at his disciples and says, if you're going to follow me, you're going to deny yourself. You're going to take up your cross and you're going to follow me. And that's a foreshadowing of the crucifixion, that he's going to the cross. But it's for them to realize later that following Jesus means you're going to deny your interests, your desires, your dreams, your aspirations. You're going to follow me. And sometimes that's going to be difficult. Sometimes it's going to be like daily taking up your cross to follow me. That's what lordship is. It's I, Jesus Christ, become the Lord of your life. That's what he's doing. I become the king. I become the ruler. I become central and center stage in your life. And you deny yourself. And what he says is that whoever would save his life will lose it. But whoever loses their life will save it. Which means that if you try to cling to this life and fulfill your desires, your dreams, your aspirations on your terms, if you try to live your life on your terms, you're going to lose eternity. But if you will lose your temporary life here, meaning you'll yield it to Christ, let him take over your life, you will save it. You will gain so much more. Jesus doesn't want to be a part of our life. He wants all of our life. If there's a throne and someone's got to sit in the throne, it cannot be us. That's what we do. We like to sit on the throne, make us the center so that we can decide how we want to live. And I've got how I want to run my family here, I want my friends here, how I want to run my business, my work, how I want to be an employee here, how I got my hobbies here. We have all our life filled out, and we're on the seat. We're on the throne. We're the ones who are the kings saying we decide what we want to do. But Jesus says, if you do this, you will lose eternity. But if you will get about the throne, if you'll trust in the finished work of Christ, his life, death, and resurrection, everything we've already said the last 3 weeks in this study, if you'll do this and let him take his rightful place on the throne, you will gain everything that matters. He will take center stage in every aspect of your life. He won't just be a part of your life, he'll be your life. And if you do this, at times it's going to be difficult. At times, choosing Jesus over the world is hard. Denying yourself for his desires is difficult at times. But what you gain is so much better. I appreciate Galatians 2:20 that says, I've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. In the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. If you don't have that open right now, pause the video and go look at it and sit in that idea. And you'll need to study this further. He's saying, I've been crucified. My old self with all of its desires have been crucified. They're dead now. They're gone. It's not me who lives, it's Christ who lives in me. In the life that I live now, I don't live by my desires, my wants, my needs. No, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself up for me. That means that Jesus, if you say go here, I'm going. Jesus, if you say stop this and drop this, I'm dropping it like a bad habit. I want you to be central in my life. I want you to be Lord. So I want the old self gone. I want the new self to be one that yields and lays down and says, Jesus, take over. Jesus, take over. I want you to be Lord and King and ruler over my life. When we looked at Ephesians 2:8 and 9 last week, we saw that it says, for by grace you've been saved through faith. It's not the result of works. It's not a result of our own doing, so that no one may boast. It's a gift. We saw that, right? All that's true. How you come to Christ is trusting in his life, death, and resurrection. Full stop. Now that you belong to him and you've yielded your life to him. It says in verse 10, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Again, pause the video, go to Ephesians 2:10 and look at that. We are his workmanship, his handiwork. We get to be used by God for good and glorious endeavors, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which he prepared beforehand. He has good things for us to do. And certainly at times, following Jesus in those good works is difficult. But in doing this, in denying ourselves and taking up the cross and following Christ with him as Lord, what you gain is so much more. Every day following Jesus and denying yourself, you see how he's worth it, how he's worthy. Jesus is worthy of him taking over the throne of our lives. So as you're finishing this study, I want you to consider, have you ever done this? Have you ever, like the last 3 weeks, trusted in his life, death, and resurrection? By grace we've been saved, not trusting in our own works, but trusting in the Lord and laying down our lives. Have you ever done that? Have you ever laid down your life and said, Jesus, I want you to be the Lord. I want you to take over. I want you to be the one who dictates what I do in this life. I'm yours. Have you done this? That's the biggest question you need to answer as you finish up this study. If you're walking through this with someone else, you need to wrestle with this question. Maybe right now you need to sit and consider this before the Lord in prayer and ask God, have I ever done this? And if you haven't, you need to surrender to Jesus right now. You need to surrender your life to him as Lord. That's the hope. And if you do this, if you will trust him, if you will lay down your life to follow him, what you will gain is so much better. And that's my hope as you finish this study. You'd see that Christ is Lord is better than everything else.